Today, the DCKO tournament finally comes to an end, with our heroes versus Darkseid's champions from the Absolute Universe. The champions stand on the fire pit wasteland that Earth has become during the tournament of the King Omega. They stare at the champions from Darkseid's Absolute Universe, led by a Darkseid-possessed Booster Gold. Joker smiles. Round 4. Fight! The heart bellows. Cal raises his fist and fires a blast of fire from his gauntlets at Superman. Die! He roars. The blast hits Superman in the chest and forces him back. He recovers as Cal leaps at him, the red dust cape of Krypton swirling around him before he punches Superman hard in the jaw. But Diana is there, wrapping her arms around young Cal's throat and pulling him off her friend. But suddenly, the skeletal frame of Pegasus swoops down and slams into her, knocking Diana away. The massive unit that is Absolute Batman charges at Luthor with a roar of rage, but Lex is saving the last of his suit's energy for the end. So instead, he fires an elephant tranquilizer at the young hero. Absolute Batman doesn't even slow down. He raises his battle axe and prepares to strike. Shoot him, Joker! Lex yells as the axe slams into his armor and knocks him aside. Batman turns and glares at the clown. Well, he growls. But Joker holds up his hands in defeat. Actually, I like to switch sides, Joker says with a shake of his hand. Darkseid Booster floats down and hovers over the scene. What? You will forfeit your chance to win the tournament, Booster tells him. Joker shrugs. I mean, I got to kill Batman with a bang, so I'm good. Besides, Darkseid should have 4 horsemen, not just 3, Joker points out. Booster ponders this for a moment before finally nodding. He calls out to the heart, and Omega energy pulses around Joker, transforming him into a new type of parademon. The clown demon smiles down at his new armor. Ha ha! I love it! He chuckles. Nearby, Superman struggles to his feet, Lex and Diana by his side. Grodd told me we were betrayed, but I would never have guessed it was you, Lex growls at him. Booster merely smiles, his eyes flashing red as Darkseid peers from behind them. Don't blame poor Booster. He isn't at fault, Booster tells them. But his voice begins to change. The dark rumble of Darkseid escaping from his lips. My will is undeniable, he growls. His gaze falls to Superman. Nice to see you again, Kryptonian. Now, my horsemen, kill them all, he orders. The Dark Wonder Woman launches through the air astride Pegasus, but Diana throws her lasso around the steed's neck and brings it down. Diana stalks forward as the Dark Amazon struggles to her feet. Talk to me. When my lasso touched you, I sensed nothing but Darkseid's essence. There must be more, Diana pleads. But the Dark Warrior turns a blackened gaze upon Diana. You know, I have a lasso too. It's called Sacrifice, and it doesn't just make people talk, the Absolute Wonder Woman tells her. She pulls out the glowing weapon and begins to wrap it around her arm. Suddenly, Diana watches as her dark sister transforms into a fearsome Hydra. Nearby, young Cal and Superman charge at each other. They slam together and 52 megatons of energy is blasted across the battlefield. Though Superman is able to reabsorb the energy. Is that the best you can do? Cal snarls at him, his eyes glowing with fury. The Joker is still fighting with Lex and rips the kryptonite out of his armor. Mind if I borrow this? Joker cackles before tossing the gem to Batman. Hey Bats! A gift from me to you! Joker calls. Batman catches the gem and snaps it in half. replacing his bat-ear daggers and charging at Superman, slamming hard into his back and driving the sharp crystals into his flesh. Superman lets out a cry of pain and stumbles to his knees. They are losing. He glances over his shoulder as the absolute Batman slowly stalks towards him, battle axe in hand. But Joker steps up as Batman raises the weapon. "Wait! Let me do it! I've always wanted to kill a Superman," Joker asks. Joker takes the weapon and raises it for a strike, but he gasps in pain as a jagged piece of metal is shoved through his chest. Joker stumbles and falls, coughing up blood and laughing, but the laughter dies on his lips. Bang! The real Batman says. He reaches down and helps a surprised Superman to his feet. "Hello, old friend," Batman says with a smile. Superman just stares at him. "How?" he finally asks. "Before we entered the competition, I wired a mother box to my heart. So if I died, I'd be transported away. The heart made me fight my way through heaven and hell as punishment for cheating," Batman says with a shrug. Superman nods as if this all makes perfect sense. "You mean punishment for being Batman," he says. Batman glances to their left and sees the young Kal floating there angrily. "Who's the kid?" Batman asks. Superman rolls his shoulders and prepares himself. "He's Darkseid. They're all Darkseid," he explains. Batman nods and turns away. "Then go get him," he calls over his shoulder. He turns to the massive Absolute Batman. "I'll take this one." Absolute Batman glares at him and picks up his axe. "Let's do it, rich boy," he growls. Batman merely drops into a combat stance. "You know, I've fought a lot of Batmen lately, but that is the ugliest bat symbol I've ever seen," Batman tells him. Absolute Batman lets out a roar as he begins to grow, spikes ripping through his armor. "How's it looking now?" the transformed bat says as he stalks forward. Batman smiles. "It's growing on me." Absolute Batman charges forward and swings his axe, but Batman leaps out of the way, twisting through the air. He lands gently and points to the twin sticky bombs now attached to Absolute Batman's chest. "Hold on, you've got something on your," Batman says, as the bombs explode and Absolute Batman stumbles back in a cloud of smoke. But his cape tendrils snap out and stab through Batman's shoulders, picking him up and tossing him through the air. Nearby, Diana fights her dark sister, flying through the air and slamming into the Hydra again and again. "Enough tricks! Face me!" Diana demands as she flies through one of the Hydra's heads. "There has to be more to you than this, sister!" Diana yells. The Hydra begins to shrink, becoming an absolute Wonder Woman once more, now with one less arm. The Dark Amazon shakes her head. "There is only him, sister, and he is nearly here," the Dark Wonder Woman tells her. Nearby, the Supermen continue to trade blows, but Superman realizes that these younger, darker versions of themselves are too powerful, and the champions are tired from the tournament. He turns at the sight of Booster Gold, his red eyes flashing as he screams for his champions to fight. "Fight, you insects!" Darkseid bellows. Superman stops his battle and flies forward, slamming into Booster with all his strength, putting every ounce of energy into the blow. Booster is knocked across the earth, slamming through several buildings before he finally falls to the ground. And in that moment, the heroes of the Absolute Universe are freed. The Absolute Batman's eyes widen in shock as Darkseid's influence recedes. Are we free?" he gasps. Kal nods. "I think so, Batman," he whispers. Absolute Wonder Woman nods and looks up at Diana. "It was a nightmare. like being a passenger in your own form, she whispers. Superman nods as all the heroes gather. He has no hold over you anymore, he tells them. He looks at them all and asks that they join them in the battle against Darkseid. But Lex shakes his head and scoffs at the idea. You think it's that easy? You didn't free anyone, you fool, he snaps at Superman. He points to Booster Gold's body. He let them go. He doesn't need them anymore. Because he's here. The champions watch as Booster's body begins to shift. His mouth opens wide as hands reach out from it, grasping the jaw and pulling it apart. Bones crack and skin tears as Darkseid pulls his way free of the body he possessed. The champions watch as Darkseid returns. Greetings, champions! Darkseid calls as he stands to his full height, massive in this world. The heroes stand ready. Superman knows what they must do. As one, they charge forward into the final battle, but they have already seen the future. Omega beams launch from Darkseid's eyes, so many that the world turns red. One by one, the heroes fall, blasted from existence. Only Superman remains, fighting through the blast, burning, but alive. Finally, Darkseid relents, and Superman stands before him, his costume tattered, his skin burned and bloody. Is that all you got? Is that it? He bellows. Darkseid smiles down at him. Impressive, Kryptonian. Now go on. I'm waiting. Darkseid rumbles. Superman glances over his shoulder and sees Lex standing behind him, shielded by Superman's body. Come on, Luthor. Let's do this together. You heard him. He's waiting, Superman says. But Lex shakes his head and smiles. He is waiting, Superman. For a winner, Lex hisses. He pours the last of his energy into a final blast, the blow hitting Superman and cutting off his final words. The blast rips him apart, and the Kryptonian falls. The tournament has ended. The King Omega has been crowned. Lex turns to Darkseid as the crown appears over his head. But that is not the end of our tale. Before the tournament began, in the far future, in a time of legion and darkness, the Dark Legion floats over a flame-quenched world. Saturn Girl is one of the most trusted followers of the final god, Darkseid. She is called before his presence. You called for me, King Omega? She asks as she bows. The great energy that is Darkseid stares down at her. You are correct. Do not be afraid. You serve me well, Saturn Girl. I can sense my enemy's efforts to stop me from completing my work. And so it is time you understand what is to come. Darkseid tells her. He orders her to journey into the past of the world he has created. A world that is made of absolute Omega energy. To have the Legion capture the champions of this world, that they may stand against the champions of Earth when they try to stop him. Time passes, and Saturn Girl stands before the final god once more, the captured horseman at her back. Darkseid stares down at her. You have done well, Saturn Girl. I can feel the heroes plot to challenge me. They believe they can build Omega energy as I did. Control the heart of Apocalypse. Crown themselves King Omega. Darkseid tells her. You are my most loyal servant. You must be rewarded. Look into my mind. Gaze into its depths. Darkseid tells her. Saturn Girl hesitates, but Darkseid orders her to proceed. She reaches out with her mind, reaching into the depths of Darkseid's mind. Her eyes begin to glow as blood begins to spill down her cheeks. She can see what Darkseid sees, see the various worlds and timelines, and she realizes that Darkseid would always win. And in the end, there would be nothing. All of life, past, present, and future, are meaningless. There is only Darkseid, but for a brief moment, she sees a glimpse of something else. A light that shined, a creation of a different kind. And that was the complete story for DC KO, issue 4 by Scott Snyder. The conclusion of the tournament, but we still have one issue left with the King Omega. But I'd love to hear what you thought about this conclusion to the tournament in the comments down below. What did you think of the Absolute Champions versus our own? Let me know, and like and subscribe to help out the channel. I'm Dan with Comicstorian, and we will see you next time. Rest in peace, Benny.